Good morning. I am Pat Kendrick, President of the Rotary Club of Parker, Colorado. Welcome to this special meeting of the Rotary Club of Parker, where we are celebrating this year's Parker Impact Award winners. Could you please stand as Rotarian Steve Small leads us with our Pledge of Allegiance, followed by Rotarian Susan Guston with our four-way test.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to invite you to join me in reciting Rotary's four-way test, which is displayed on the screen. The four-way test is Rotary's statement of ethics that we seek to apply in our professional and personal lives, and we recite it at every meeting. Please join me. Of the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Thank you.
I would now like to welcome to our meeting David Nagel, Support Chaplain for the Colorado National Guard, for this morning's invocation.
Greetings. My name is Chaplain David Nagel with the Colorado National Guard. One of the greatest lessons I learned from my parents, which was informed by our faith, and from other mentors, coaches, and influential teachers, is how important it is to live a life of service to others. The Rotary Club understands the value of service. Their motto, service above self, is one of the reasons I admire their mission. The Rotary Club, I've learned, has 35,000 different groups, making up more than 1.2 million members meeting all over the world. That's amazing. The Rotary Club of Parker, Colorado, I know is full of big-hearted men and women who want to make a difference in our community. And they are. I'm personally grateful for the tremendous support shown by the Rotary Club to our men and women in uniform, serving both at home and abroad. And so with that in mind, I invite you to join with me as we open in prayer. Almighty God, we are thankful to be able to gather as a community, even virtually this year, to recognize individuals who are making a significant impact in our community. You know very well the challenges that we have faced over the last year, and we ask that you would heal our land and touch the grieving hearts of those who have lost a loved one due to this virus. Thank you for our medical professionals, our frontline workers, our teachers, and the first responders who have answered the call to love their neighbors as themselves. Through adversity, we become stronger as a community. May we lean upon you in times of discouragement, knowing that you are a God who loves and cares for each of us. We ask these things in your holy name. Amen.
Thank you, David. I will now introduce Rotarian Mike Oldham to present this morning's Rotary Moment.
Good morning. What is Rotary? Rotary International is the world's oldest service organization, founded in 1905 in Chicago, Illinois. The Rotary Foundation was founded in 1918 and has grown to a multi-million-dollar five-star charity organization which provides funding through grants to Rotarians performing projects in their communities and around the world to help people have better lives. Rotary's motto is service above self. Rotarians are guided by ethical standards, including the four-way test, recited at the beginning of meetings, which focuses on truth, fairness, goodwill, and the concept that action should be beneficial to all concerned. Rotary welcomes to membership any adult, regardless of race, gender, religion, or sexual orientation, who is of good character and who subscribes to Rotary's ethical values and wants to give back to their community through service. Rotary operates on the concept of fellowship. By working together, we can accomplish far more than we can working alone. Rotary clubs are neither religious nor political. Projects done with the Rotary Foundation grants must relate to an area of focus, which includes disease prevention, maternal and child health care, water and sanitation, literacy and education, the environment, financial stability and development, and peace and conflict resolution. The Parker Rotary Club was founded in 1993, and we have been actively working in our community ever since. To celebrate Rotary's 100th birthday in 2005, we built and gave to the town of Parker the gazebo, located in O'Brien Park, and more recently, the flagpole next to the gazebo. We have recognized students in our community through college scholarships, our Student of the Month program, an Interact Club at Chaparral High, and through the Rotary Youth Leadership Awards program, which is a paid leadership training program for middle and high school students held in the summer. We have supported the work of the Parker Task Force and Praying Hands Ranch for disabled children for years. We hope to return to in-person meetings later this year. Our club meets weekly from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. on Thursday mornings. If you are interested in Rotary, we would be delighted to have you join us as a guest. Please visit our website, parkerrotary.org, for further information. I thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Mike. It is now my pleasure to introduce Steve Brown, who will lead us through the balance of today's exciting program.
Hi, my name is Steve Brown, and I'm chairing the State of the Town event for this year. The State of the Town is a luncheon sponsored by the Rotary Club of Parker for many years. Last year, we held our luncheon at the Pace Center in February, and in a matter of weeks following the event, COVID-19 hit with such force in our community and in our world that we changed how we live our lives, and in particular, how we can hold or not hold the State of the Town luncheon. We have all been affected. Our own committee lost one of its members to COVID. His name is Lindy Blackburn, and I miss him. However, we are a people of hope. We are a Rotary Club of Hope. We are a town of hope. We have all adapted. Some of us have served and sacrificed in extraordinary ways, far beyond concern for self, which is our Rotary motto, service above self. We shall honor them later in the program. So, our adaptation to COVID and all challenges presented is to do the State of the Town as what we are calling a, quote, non-event, with the video that I'm about to show you. Our hope is to return live to our luncheon next year. The town of Parker does a short video every year showcasing our town, and they have done a video again this year. Thank you, Town of Parker. This is such a great place to live. The town's video will run immediately at the end of our non-event video. Thank all of you for watching and for joining us in serving the community. I am seeing a light at the end of the tunnel. I hope you can see it too.
2020 was one for the history books here in the town of Parker. Who'd have thought that this year's State of the Town would need to be hosted virtually due to a worldwide pandemic? We know this year was hard for so many as we all faced uncertainty and isolation while discovering new ways to live our lives, socially distanced to keep each other safe. And though it's been a challenging year, each of us have had the opportunity to lead, to innovate, and rediscover what drew us to Parker in the first place. Partnering, adapting to creative new ways of doing business, working together to keep our community moving forward. And so, we'd like to share just a small taste of how our community came together this last year. Technology allowed town staff to work remotely while still providing the exceptional service and accessibility Parker is known for. Virtual town council meetings kept the community engaged and informed about important issues. The town adapted many services, such as building inspections and recreation classes, to virtual versions, and modified our facilities to provide safe, socially distanced areas to keep Parker growing and healthy. Parker has always been a great place to live, work, and play, and you certainly took advantage of safe opportunities to do just that. Use of our massive network of trails and open spaces was at an all-time high this year as you rode bikes, created new adventures, and explored the great outdoors. Our goal of business as usual allowed us to provide as many traditional Parker experiences as possible, just with a bit of a pandemic twist. The ice trail and hometown holiday experience brought socially distanced light and life to the holiday season. And Parker Arts hosted multiple virtual events and even created drive-in experiences at the Pace Center parking lot. And while the town adapted during the pandemic, we saw you do the same. In response to significantly increased need, the Parker Task Force received an outpouring of community donations and was able to help those who needed it the most. Learning pods and remote classes kept children engaged with their peers, and Douglas County Libraries provided free tutoring for students. The town distributed coloring and activity books to keep that creativity flowing. Businesses and restaurants transformed themselves, providing curbside pickup, outdoor patios, and individual dining pods. The Parker community responded powerfully, stepping into the gap, supporting our small businesses, older generations, and medical responders. You created care packages, delivered food, and hung banners to let people know they weren't alone. And while the challenges of 2020 were unprecedented, and it was far from the perfect year, we here at the town of Parker want you to know that we're proud of all of you. Proud of your innovation, adaptability, and leadership during this time. We are honored to have been of service to you and grateful to be part of such a caring community. Building on what was accomplished this year, we look forward to helping our business community fully reopen. We can't wait to go back to full capacity at all of our facilities and look forward to when that picnic in the park, cheering at softball games, or flying down packed water slides is a normal and everyday sight here in Parker. It may not happen all at once, but we are committed to moving forward, one careful step at a time. And so, just as it has always been, and even more so throughout this last year, we can't do it without you. So get involved and let your voice be heard. You are the secret ingredient to creating this amazing community right here in the town of Parker.
Good afternoon. My name is Tom Vanderheiden, and I'm the chairman of the Parker Rotary Impact Award Committee for 2021. The Impact Award was created in 2011 by Colonel Linwood E. Blackburn, U.S. Army retired. We knew him as Lindy. He was a Vietnam War hero. He flew helicopters during that war. Sometime thereafter, he found his way to Parker 20 years ago and promptly became involved in community service. He was a member of the Parker Water Board, was a prominent realtor, and served as president of our Rotary Club. Toward the end of his life, he was a frequent volunteer as a Bible study leader at the Douglas County Jail. He died on December 17th of last year from complications from COVID-19. God rest his soul. What is the Impact Award? This award is presented annually to an individual or organization that has made a significant contribution to the community of Parker. This can be an act of compassion, service, or heroism that exemplifies the Rotary motto, service above self. Neither the person making the nomination nor the recipient of the award need be a resident of Parker. This year marks the 10th year for the Impact Award. Before I introduce our honorees, I'd like to show you the awards that we will present to them in the near future. This desk clock, it says Parker Impact Award 2021, presented to April Krull, Parker Adventist Hospital, for selfless commitment, dedication, and noteworthy contributions to the quality of life in the Parker community during the COVID-19 pandemic, truly exemplifying the Rotary International motto, service above self. We also have wall plaques to present to our groups, Parker Task Force and also Parker Adventist Hospital. They read, Parker Impact Award 2021 in honor of the dedicated volunteers of Parker Task Force or Parker Adventist Hospital for selfless commitment, dedication, and noteworthy contributions to the quality of life in the Parker area during the COVID-19 pandemic, truly exemplifying the Rotary and International motto, service above self. And now, here are the honorees for the Rotary Club of Parker's Impact Awards for 2021. First will be Rob Nelson, a volunteer extraordinaire. Presenting Rob's award will be Mike Endress.
Good morning. I'm Mike Endress of the Rotary Club of Parker, and it's my pleasure to introduce 2021 Parker Impact Award recipient, Rob Nelson. Rob was nominated for his service to 11 different community efforts, and he just recently added one more, the diaper difference. Themes common to his service are meeting the most basic human needs, such as food and warm clothing, to support first responders and military. These needs have grown tremendously due to COVID-19, and Rob is fully committed to continuing to serve throughout the pandemic. He has often been called the Parker Douglas County funnel guy for channeling donations of much needed items, and he loves to partner with other Parker area businesses and organizations in his service. Scroll through Rob Nelson on Facebook to get a better idea of his service. Others have said this of Rob. Through Rob and his connections, we have built relationships with other nonprofits to share resources and to be able to help more people in need. Warm, enthusiastic, selfless, and impassioned, his true heart for making the community a better place is inspiring and infectious. After volunteering a full day at the food bank, Rob remains to lead a team to complete the unpleasant task of breaking down all the boxes and putting them into the dumpster. Rob is truly unique and stands alone among our 90 volunteers, a tremendous encouragement and inspiration to others. Rob, can I ask you to take just a few minutes and to share some of your many service contributions to our community with us?
Absolutely. Well, through this process of getting to know you, Mike, this award became so much more meaningful. Learning and understanding your background about your 24 years of U.S. Army service, that became even more impactful for me to receive this award. One of my big projects has been Fort Carson's Warriors Warehouse. I've established an incredible relationship with them down there, which started with simply turkeys, getting turkeys and of all things black socks, the most requested item. And this little effort with getting turkeys and black socks became into getting them household items for their transition homes down there, getting them kitchen items, and getting them toys as we near the holidays, always wrangling toys for the incredible military families at Fort Carson's Warriors Warehouse. The other big relationships of 2020 that have developed are with Grace Baptist Church Food Bank's been the big one. I usually gauge my efforts over there by the dumpster. I try to stick around late, and there's a lot of cleanup involved, and so Todd and Heather always kid me that I don't smell enough like a dumpster today if I haven't been doing dumpster duty, because it requires a lot of cardboard breakdown and a lot of cleanup. So I always like to share about the dumpster smelling gauge. The other big relationship which has just emerged is the diaper difference. As I was at Grace Food Bank, I noticed a lot of women going for the diapers before the food, and this also pulled at my heart. So the other perspective I like to bring to this, Mike and I have talked about a lot, is the America perspective. And when he asked me about that, my first thought was sacrifice. I've seen Mike sacrifice and service to our country, and having a front row seat with Warriors Warehouse and these military families, complete sacrifice comes to mind. I've always felt like, as a country, what can we do? It's always seemed like the red, white, and blue thing to do is step up and help those who are struggling. Which leads me to reflect on my dad, of course. That was one of the questions Mike asked me. For my dad, it was always very natural. He was a PT boater, World War II, 17 years old, went over to the South Pacific, and he came out of there without a scratch. But I noticed very much growing up, it was very natural for him to volunteer fireman, volunteered at church, was an usher. I very much had a great model as far as serving. Dad was all about serving without even a blink or without even a second thought. So that comes into play too. Being the hands and feet of Jesus, and washing those feet of our neighbors comes to mind. So I'm very, very honored by this. Thank you all.
Rob, I want to thank you so much for being with us today. I thank you for your incredible service to our community and your inspiration to others with the service that you give to the community. You truly epitomize Rotary International's motto of service above self.
Our next winners are the creators of Be the Good Ones, as presented by Katie Kendrick.
Hi, I'm Katie Kendrick, and I'm here with Leah Ryan, Aaron Jones, and Alex Yakupovich, the founders of the Be the Good Ones organization. Congratulations, you guys, on receiving the Parker Impact Award. Let's talk a little bit about you guys and what you've done. How do you guys know each other?
We sort of all became friends. I was the mutual connection between Aaron and Alex. Aaron and I used to manage a nonprofit called Parker Secret Closet together, and Alex and I know each other through networking. So when this formed and we got the band together, I connected all three of us, and we're a great team.
Excellent. Where did you guys come up with the idea for this group, or was there sort of something that inspired you to do this?
So Leah and myself actually kind of were chatting on the phone one day, and we decided to go out to lunch. And we kind of saw this whole thing where it was going with the whole COVID and notes and everything that was out there. And we went out to lunch and we talked, and we saw that there was going to be this need of what are people going to need. There's a lot of elderly, a lot of people in need. And we sat there, we had lunch, she made some notes, we had some great barbecue, and we came up with the name Be the Good Ones. That's actually been a tag of mine for a long time on my Facebook. And Leah's a monster. I mean, she just kind of took it, ran with it. I think you were sick that day too, a little bit, and you actually went home, knocked it out of the park, and you had it up and running within like 2-3 days on Facebook. And then we just started talking to people and getting the word out and working it. And that's how it started.
Have you had pretty good support from the community?
Yeah, it's been amazing. I mean, Parker is a community, a community-based community. Everybody does their part to pitch in, and everybody is they've come forward and wanted to help, probably more than anyone even expected. We're really, really lucky to have an incredibly supportive community both, I want to say almost emotionally and financially. We put a need out and they're right there. So I don't think we could have designed a better place for this to start.
Sure. I'm just sort of curious, what kind of, you mentioned financial and other support. What kind of things have people done, and how has this all worked?
If you could imagine it, it's probably happened in the last year here. We have people dropping off prescriptions for other people, making dinner for families, helping with groceries, helping, recently we had people help cover an exorbitant, ridiculous cost of a prescription. People mowing each other's lawns and pulling weeds and, dropping off clothes and coats for kids. Really anything you can imagine has happened within this group in the last year. It's been phenomenal.
It sounds like it. And this has all been connected with people online and through Facebook, or
yeah,
how has that worked?
Yeah, we started when we when we started the Facebook group, we sort of just put out our feelers across our personal networks, and people started joining and wanting to help. And I think it really, a lot of people really wanted to help and didn't know how or where to go to do that. And we just sort of became that avenue for them they wanted to help, they wanted to jump in. So we found the needs and connected them with the people that were, willing to help. And it's been really fun facilitating it and seeing how many people are willing to jump in and help in any capacity.
That sounds great. I know you mentioned that the two of you had the previous nonprofit here in Parker. I'm guessing that you've all been sort of involved with these sort of things for a long time.
Yes and no. I mean, the Parker Secret Closet nonprofit that we helped manage was its own monster in itself, and it did some amazing things and helped a lot of people in all across the Denver metro area for a few years. And it was really awesome to be a part of and watch. And I think just the three of us with the networking that we do and the businesses that we're in for our day jobs and the community that we've built around ourselves has just really spoken for itself when we came up with this idea and decided to run with it. And it's surprising.
That really struck me when I was first joined the Be the Good Ones Facebook page and kind of saw what you guys were doing, that you clearly had families and jobs, and it was such a dedication, I guess is the word, for making this happen despite everything else, and making everybody get connected and helping with folks who needed a way to get involved with the community. Thanks again, guys. And we can find the Be the Good Ones group on Facebook, and congratulations.
The next awards go to the staff of Parker Adventist Hospital for their outstanding contributions during the COVID-19 pandemic. And in addition, we're recognizing 3 of their superheroes. Mike Gable, CEO of the hospital, will present their awards.
Hello, I'm Mike Gable, the CEO of Parker Adventist Hospital. I've been asked to spend a couple of minutes just talking about what we've done and what we continue to do around COVID-19. I would start by saying that we learned a lot about being an agile and adaptive organization. Whether it's transitioning from a historical run rate of 11 ICU patients and going up to a total of 26, or taking care of 42 COVID patients all at one time. I think many hospitals were pushed from a capability and capacity standpoint, and Parker was no different, but we've emerged with a new definition of what we would say is difficult. And we are a more responsive organization and can pivot more quickly because of COVID-19. We moved people's cheese every single day. We continue to look at COVID patients as just another cohort of patients that we try to take great care of each and every day. Our nominees for the Impact Awards are 3 people. First is April Krall. April has been one of our ICU nurses. She has served as a house supervisor and was a clinical coordinator in the ICU. As of September, we promoted April to be the ICU and cardiac stroke manager. She has an outstanding ability in emergency and disaster preparedness, and took it upon herself to actually take a federal course in emergency preparedness. She's led changes to adapt quickly for a significant increase in patients, or surge planning, as we would call it. She led the charge to convert our recovery space in surgery into an ICU, something that a year ago we would have told you was impossible. She also served on our HERT team, which is HERT, which is basically a SWAT team for training employees, with daily changes coming from the CDC, as well as some changes in policy by Centura, sometimes every other day. We needed a team that could quickly train a good share of our 1,000 employees that work here every day. She's an outstanding person, is very well respected by her peers in ICU, as well as our leadership and our senior leadership teams. Second is Terry Lytle. Terry is also an intensive care nurse and works each and every day to take great care of her patients. She's been recognized for her tremendous compassion with a number of patients and taking care of them in a very special way. Most recently, she came up with what she now calls the bereavement keepsake box. We had a young father who was critically injured. He had a young daughter. Unfortunately, the father did not make it. Terry took it upon herself to create this bereavement keepsake box for the daughter, where she took a lock of his hair, an EKG strip reflecting his heartbeat, and some forget-me-not wildflowers, as well as some other keepsakes, so that she has something to remember her father by for many years to come. Terry also intervened in another patient who was on a ventilator and could not communicate, which was common with COVID patients. In the patient's final hours, she took great care of the family, and they said that specifically in their letter back to us. She also made sure they knew that their loved one was well taken care of, and that they had the opportunity to say goodbye, and that the patient did not die alone. She is someone, along with April, that truly lives our mission. Finally is John Brillhart, who is our safety manager. He's a great leader with significant safety expertise. John has done a great job of preparing us overall for emergencies, whether it's COVID, snowstorms, utility failures, or just significant safety threats to our staff. He's led the development of our incident command, something that we have to be able to be operational in minutes. He was at the middle of our incident command when we ran incident command for 77 straight days this spring, 24/7. He's also been instrumental in the quick response to setting up vaccine clinics. 2 weeks ago here at Parker, we vaccinated over 2,200 people in about 4.5 days. And he made sure and is in the middle of making sure that's a seamless process. John is indispensable in our emergency planning, always has a can-do attitude on anything we ask him as he lives his mission for Parker Adventist Hospital. We appreciate the opportunity to nominate these three individuals for an Impact Award. Thank you.
Finally, we want to honor the volunteers of the Parker Task Force for their steadfast support of Parker during COVID-19. Our presenter is Steve Budnak, CEO of the task force.
I'm Steve Budnick, the volunteer chairman of the Parker Task Force, and I'm so excited to speak to you today about some of the most amazing individuals in our communities, the volunteers of the Parker Task Force. I would like to read the nomination letter for the Impact Award that was sent to the Rotary Club of Parker on behalf of the Parker Task Force. The volunteers of the Parker Task Force are being honored for their dedication and selfless service. The mission of the Parker Task Force is to provide individuals and families in our community with food, limited financial assistance, and other support services to help them become self-sufficient. These services are delivered with compassion, dignity, and respect by the 100% volunteer staff. In its 34th year of service to our community, the Parker Task Force has become a well-respected nonprofit organization, in large part due to the commitment of the volunteer staff. Volunteer turnover is extremely low at the Parker Task Force. Many volunteers have served for 10+ years. The longest-serving volunteer is in her 24th year of service. The number of volunteer hours logged in 2020 increased dramatically over the previous year. Before the pandemic, the Parker Task Force had 105 active volunteers. In March of 2020, things changed, and that number dropped to 24 as the Parker Task Force closed its building to the public to develop a contactless means of providing food to the families we serve. Gradually, the number of volunteers has grown to 45 as of the beginning of 2021. It is a testament to the strength of the volunteer commitment for 40% of the volunteers doing the work of well over 100. More volunteers are returning to active duty at the Parker Task Force as the vaccine becomes available. As of the end of January, 10% of the volunteers have been vaccinated. Volunteers serve in different capacities. Parker Task Force is open for business 4 days a week, but much more goes on behind the scenes. 6 days a week, volunteers drive their own vehicles to the local grocery stores to pick up items that the stores determine they no longer need or want. During the 4 days of the food bank operations, volunteers worked to sort donations, manage the inventory, stock shelves, fill food orders, and place those orders in the client's vehicles. Trained volunteers working from their homes conduct an interview, answer the client's questions, provide resources, and obtain their food order. Once this is done, they transmit the relevant forms via Microsoft Teams to the Parker Task Force office, where the food orders can be fulfilled and resource information provided to the clients. Volunteers also work to organize food drives. During the pandemic, the Parker Task Force has been unable to conduct food drives at local grocery stores. When requests for food went out on Facebook, churches and other organizations, including the Rotary Club of Parker, responded to replenish needed inventory to the food bank. The citizens of the community also play a part in keeping food on the food bank shelves. Every day that the Parker Task Force is open, donations from individuals are brought to the food bank. Many of those donors are repeat donors, knowing the volunteers will ensure their donations will go to their neighbor in need. The Parker Task Force volunteers touched the lives of many families and did so increasingly in 2020 as the number of families we served increased from January through December by well over 25%. The Parker Task Force volunteers are dedicated, tireless, and hardworking. Many are retired from a wide variety of interesting careers. Others find time to volunteer while still in the workplace or busy raising growing families. The diverse group of volunteers have one thing in common, which is their commitment to serving those most in need in our community. Together, the Parker Task Force volunteers make a difference. And now from my perspective, these extraordinary volunteers went above and beyond in 2020 and will continue to devote themselves to our neighbors until the job is done. I've been blessed to walk alongside them and to witness their dedication and compassion to those most in need. When I think of them, I think of selflessness. That is what makes this award so special. They exemplify the Rotary model, service above self. Now trust me, they do not do what they do for the recognition or awards. That is what makes them so special. It is my privilege to congratulate the Parker Task Force volunteers as an Impact Award winner. Thank you.
Next up will be our immediate past president, Gail Lehrman. She will speak to some of the charities that we support with the proceeds from our events.
Hi, I'm Gail Lehrman, Chair of the Membership Committee for the Parker Rotary Club. COVID affected many of us this past year. As we have seen and heard from our Impact awardees today, many heroes and heroines surfaced as our lives took a bit of a turn. Because of the tremendous support of our past State of the Town event sponsors, our Rotary Club was able to take action against some of our most pressing challenges. In this extraordinary year of COVID, we were able to make an impact through some important community service projects that we funded. Youth are an important asset, and we were able to assist them in these ways, with the bulk of our support going to scholarships for graduating seniors. And finally, we were able to continue funding international projects as we partnered with other area Rotary clubs. In this extraordinary year of COVID, the Rotary Club of Parker has been able to fund over $52,000 worth of programs and projects. If you would like to learn more about our Rotary Club, please check us out at parkerrotary.org. We invite you to join us for a meeting and to take action with us by becoming an active member. Through your generosity, we will be able to continue supporting many service projects that are being tackled here in Parker. We encourage you to visit this black tie site to make a contribution or send a check to the Rotary Club of Parker Foundation, Post Office Box 1472, Parker, Colorado 80134.
And congratulations to all of this year's Parker Impact Award winners. We realize that there are many people here in our community who put service above self and dedicate their time and resources to have a positive impact on our community. If you are interested in finding out more about the Rotary Club of Parker and how we serve the Parker community, we would love to hear from you. Please feel free to reach out to our membership chair, Gail Lehrman, at membership@parkerrotary.org, or to me, Pat Kendrick, at president@parkerrotary.org. Thanks to everyone who has joined us. This meeting is adjourned.